और आप ही के कहने पर आपके लोगों ने बाबरी मस्जिद को तोड़ दिया।
मस्जिद? कौन सी मस्जिद? वहां पे तो राम मंदिर था, भगवान श्री राम का जन्म स्थान।
आपको कैसे पता कि राम लल्ला वहीं पर पैदा हुए थे?
नहीं तो पाकिस्तान में पैदा हुए, कराची या लाहौर में।
साइलेंस प्लीज।
अभी पहले के टाइम में बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट तो मिलता नहीं था जो मैं आपको लाके दिखाता। ये देखिए सर, दिस इज द डेट ऑफ बर्थ, सर दिस इज द प्लेस ऑफ बर्थ। अरे हिंदुस्तान की जनता ने मुझे बताया है, उनकी आस्था ने बताया है, उनकी भावना है कि राम लल्ला वहीं पैदा हुए थे। वकील साहब, आप मुझे एक बात बताएंगे?
क्या?
आपको पता है कि बाबर कहाँ पैदा हुए थे?
मुझे नहीं पता।
नहीं पता? मुझे पता था, मैं बताता। बाबर अभी के उज़्बेकिस्तान में पैदा हुए थे। तो क्या ये आपका उज़्बेकिस्तान अयोध्या में है क्या?
देखिए, मैं इसमें नहीं पढ़ना चाहता, लेकिन कुछ लोगों की भावना उस ढांचे से भी जुड़ी हुई थी जिसको आपके लोगों ने तोड़ दिया।
नहीं, तोड़ा नहीं, हमने उसको वहां से साफ किया है।
जय श्री राम, 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 जय श्री राम।
मतलब मस्जिद का ढांचा गिराकर भी आपने कोई गलती नहीं की?
मैं तो उस वक्त वहां मौजूद नहीं था, और जो आप इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं वो तो मेरे लोगों पर ही लगा रहे हैं ना। आप मेरे लोगों पे इल्जाम लगाएंगे और मैं चुप रहूंगा, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? मैं अपने लोगों के लिए जीता हूँ, उनको तो छोड़ भी नहीं सकता ना। वहां जो कुछ भी हुआ, हमने कुछ नहीं किया, बल्कि जिन आक्रमणकारी शक्तियों द्वारा जो जुल्म हुआ था, हमने उसे तोड़ा है। उन्होंने की हुई गलती को हमने अभी सुधारा है।
और
कृष्ण के बारे में, राम और कृष्ण के बारे में तो ये अयोध्या, काशी और मथुरा, बाकी कुछ नहीं चाहिए हमको। रख दो आपके पास।
तो मथुरा काशी के लिए आंदोलन कब करेंगे?
आंदोलन का क्या सवाल है? चलो गवर्नमेंट ले आइए दिल्ली में, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, और वो हिम्मत नहीं कहे बताए तो हमें उनके खिलाफ ही लड़ना पड़ेगा। कोई भी हो, वो बीजेपी की गवर्नमेंट हो तो भी मैं लड़ूंगा।
बीजेपी कहती कि मथुरा और काशी तो मेरे एजेंडा में है ही नहीं।
हम लिख देंगे वो एजेंडा, हम लिखेंगे काशी और राम।
Hello everyone and welcome to This is Asia, and here's Uzbekistan. Now let's go, shall we? Buttoned up tight in the thick of Central Asia, the land of Uzbekistan's first known inhabitants were ancient Iranians, and over the years bits of the area fell to the rule of various Iranian kingdoms, such as Bactria and Sogdia. This collision of Chewbaccas is called a Bactrian camel. Anyway, these kingdoms profited by their location on the Silk Road trade route stretching across Eurasia. Excuse me, but is this the part where you talk about invasions and wars? Because I don't want to hear about any of that. Not to fear, Becky. I was just going to talk about art. Good. And then the Persians invaded. And the region became part of the Achaemenid Empire. Then along came Alexander the Great. And Greek rule ensued. Then the Yuja invaded from the east and established the Kushan Empire. Then the Huns invaded, and then the Turks, and then the Arabs. Arab influence spread the religion of Islam, and the scholar who compiled the most important hadith collection was from the city of Bukhara in present-day Uzbekistan. With the return to Iranian rule, Persian culture permeated Central Asia and deeply influenced the Turkic peoples, who regained control, and Central Asia steadily became ethnically and linguistically more and more Turkic. In the 1200s, the Mongols invaded, and slaughtered and destroyed and conquered. One of these segments of the Mongol Empire, the Golden Horde, had as its greatest ruler Özbek Khan, whom some believe the Uzbek people are named after. And it was within the borders of future Uzbekistan that the Turco-Mongol leader Timur, or Tamerlane, was born. He set out and conquered a big empire, employing the utmost cruelty and ruthlessness in doing so. For example, after capturing the Persian city of Isfahan, he massacred the inhabitants and had 28 towers constructed, each consisting of 50 1,500 severed heads. Though highly skilled as a general and presiding over cultural and intellectual flourishment in cities like Samarkand, Timur was not much of a governor, and the lands he conquered were not developed, merely plundered, and so his empire did not stay strong for long. In the early 1500s, the Uzbeks invaded the land and established a state, with Bukhara as its capital, a city which was and had long been a major center of the Central Asian Islamic slave trade, trafficking in captives from Persia, Eastern Europe, and India. 3 states came to rule the region, and then, don't tell me, the Russian Empire invaded, and Uzbek lands became part of Russian Turkestan. Modernization was introduced, but while the Russians officially terminated the slave trade, it still continued well into the 20th century. When Russia entered into its Soviet era, religion in Uzbekistan was repressed, but education and literacy were promoted. Many thousands of Uzbeks fought with Stalin's Red Army against the Third Reich in the Second World War, and Uzbeks also fought in the Soviet-Afghan War. As the Soviet Union collapsed, Uzbekistan declared independence in 1991, and Islom Karimov became the first president. He presided over an authoritarian regime rife with corruption and human rights abuses. His successor thankfully introduced a number of reforms. Anyway, Uzbekistan today has a high level of human development and a growing economy, a land rich in resources with strong agricultural and energy sectors. But what awaits Uzbekistan in the years to come? Comment below, but for now, bye-bye!
Your computer, your iPhone, Facebook, Google, Instagram, and TikTok, all made possible through algorithms. We live in a new age, the age of algorithms, silent workhorses aligning datasets and systematizing the world. And who invented algorithms? An uncivilized man. I mean a Muslim Persian mathematician, astronomer, and geographer, Al-Khwarizmi. The term algorithm is actually the Latin translation of his name, Khwarizmi, algorithm, algoritmo, algoritmo, guarismo, algarismo. You get the point, hopefully. And no, he's not Quaresma, even though he probably uses algorithms to bend them like that. So let's quickly revisit who Khwarizmi was, what he invented, and why he's such a legend. Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi was born in 780 AD in the Central Asian region of Khwarazm, formerly part of Greater Persia, found today between the borders of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. Khwarizmi lived in Baghdad, Iraq, the world's biggest city at the time, and its center of science and trade. In the 800s, it was almost like Silicon Valley and Manhattan all in one. He studied in the House of Wisdom, known in Arabic as Dar al-Hikmah, which actually sounds cooler than Hogwarts. The place was a library, an intellectual center, and later an academy, inaugurated by Abbasid Caliph Harun al-Rashid, the man credited for commencing the Islamic Golden Age, a period of cultural, economic, and scientific flourishing in Muslim history, lasting from the 8th to the 14th century. After the Muslim conquest of Persia, the House of Wisdom became a center where Muslim scholars and polymaths of all persuasions gathered, translated scientific and philosophical texts, and published original research. Khwarizmi, the Muslim genius, accomplished most of his work in Baghdad between 813 and 833, under the tutelage of Caliph Ma'mun ibn al-Rashid. Khwarizmi published 3 major texts which changed the world. The first, Al-Kitab al-Mukhtasar fi Hisab al-Jabr wal-Muqabala. The original Arabic title is where we get the word algebra from. The book was translated into Latin in the 12th century, known today as the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing, and provided a compilation of rules together with demonstrations for finding solutions of linear and quadratic equations based on intuitive geometric arguments. Its systematic, demonstrative approach distinguishes it from earlier treatments of the subject. So next time you find yourself failing a maths quiz with a bunch of weird symbols and brackets, you know who to thank for that. Khwarizmi's second breakthrough was his introduction of Hindu-Arabic numerals and arithmetic to the West. To put it in perspective, everything from the number 0 to symbols and systems of rules to represent small and large numbers. The book, preserved in a Latin translation, is dubbed Algoritmi de Numero Indorum, algoritmi being the Latin interpretation of the author's name. And because Khwarizmi thought teaching the world numbers and algebra wasn't enough, he published Kitab Surat al-Ard, translated into English, the image of the earth, a correction and improvement of Ptolemy's geography, presenting the coordinates of localities in the known world. Khwarizmi basically showed the real length of the Mediterranean Sea and the location of cities in Asia and Africa. He also assisted in the construction of a world map for his Caliph Ma'mun and participated in a project to determine the circumference of the earth. What a guy, eh? So next time you hear someone suggesting people in Asia and the Middle East are uncivilized, keep calm and realize that that someone just might be functioning on the wrong algorithm.
ताशकंद फाइल की बात करते हैं। आपने लाल बहादुर शास्त्री साहब के डेथ मिस्ट्री के ऊपर बनाई।
एक चीज पे मेरी नजर पड़ी, वो ये है कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने आज तक उनकी मौत के ऊपर व्हाइट पेपर नहीं निकाला और उनकी 2 पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट दी। अगर भारत के सेकंड प्राइम मिनिस्टर की मौत का सत्य नहीं पता तो कहाँ है सत्य इस देश में? उनके परिवार को आज तक क्लोजर नहीं मिला। तुम बताओ, तुम्हारे अगर पिताजी या ताऊ जी या तुम्हारे दादाजी किसी का निधन कहीं विदेश में हो जाए और तुम्हें आज तक 35, 40, 50 साल बाद भी ना पता चले, बताइए आप, 60 साल होने आ रहे हैं आज। एक पूरी जनरेशन खत्म हो गई, उनके पोतों तक को नहीं पता चलेगा कि उनका हत्या हुई थी कि हार्ट अटैक हुआ था आज तक, एज वी आर टॉकिंग राइट नाउ। तो आप और हम किस खेत की मूली हैं? तो ऐसे डेमोक्रेसी के ऊपर ये फिल्म बनानी चाहिए, राइट टू ट्रूथ।